Now, you might have noticed you're getting less for your money in the supermarket, and it's not just because of increased prices during the cost of living crisis.
No, it's all to do with something called shrinkflation. What is it? Why do we care? Ben has all the details for us. Morning, Ben. It's annoying, that's what it is.
Well, for many people, it has really, really touched a nerve. It's all connected to the cost of living. Some manufacturers think keep the price the same, make the pack sizes smaller, is a better option than the alternative of putting prices up when people's budgets are squeezed. Let me explain why it's all coming to the fore again right now. You may well have noticed that you pay the same price for, I don't know, your favourite coffee, a packet of biscuits, only to find out that it has shrunk in size. It's because of something called shrinkflation. That's when manufacturers cut the size and the weight, they make it smaller, and then ask us to pay the same, or in some cases, to pay more. And we found a few examples. Take a standard multi-pack of Penguin chocolate biscuits. There used to be 8 in a pack. Now there are 7. That is a 12.5% reduction in size, while the retail price, well, that has stayed the same. When it comes to butter, a small pack of Lurpak used to be 250 grams, but now it's 200 grams. That is a whopping 20% reduction in size. But one supermarket in France has started alerting customers about products affected. It's putting signs, just like this one, on the shelves. It says, shrinkflation. This product has got smaller, but the price charged by our supplier has gone up. The Labour MP Andy MacDonald, who sits on the Business Committee in Parliament, thinks those signs should be replicated here. Supermarkets in the UK could do what Carrefour does and inform their customers when manufacturers shrink goods but keep prices high. He claimed it's evidence of manufacturers exploiting customers. Now, the British Retail Consortium, which represents shops and supermarkets, says quantities and sizes are always clearly labelled on the packaging, and shrinkflation doesn't break any rules. Well, for more on this, let's speak to consumer journalist Harry Wallop. Harry, good to see you. So, is that right, then? This doesn't break any laws or rules?
No, absolutely. It's completely legal, and it has gone on for a very long time. I mean, you may remember when Toblerone got rid of one of its triangles in its chocolate bar, and every year both Quality Street and Rose's chocolates seem to get smaller, the tub sizes at Christmas. It's a perennial problem, but it's really hit home now that inflation is also soaring ahead. So when food inflation hit 19% earlier this year, it has calmed down a little bit, and at the same time manufacturers are cutting pack sizes. That's when consumers understandably get enraged.
We had so many texts, WhatsApps, emails about this, and someone made the very good point that in the long run, doesn't this make the costs more expensive for manufacturers because they're having to make more packets, people having to buy them more often. It's a waste of packaging, it's bad for the environment, it means transporting more. In the long run, this presumably just pushes costs up for everyone.
Well, you would have thought so, but that's not the case, because one of the things that's really emerged out of this sort of food inflation environment of the last 2 years is that the food manufacturers in the main have not suffered. They have not shared the pain in the same way that, to give credit to the supermarkets profits have fallen over the last year, and the competition authorities did investigate them, and they did find out that they were making less pounds in their pocket for every pound that they got in the till. The food manufacturers' profit margins are significantly higher than the supermarkets, and they have not fallen. So this is a negotiating tactic on the part of the supermarket. So this is what's happening in France. The French supermarket Carrefour is putting up these labels to shame the manufacturers, to essentially get the upper hand in negotiating tactics to get price cuts from the manufacturers. Not sure necessarily the consumers necessarily win out. This is really the consumers stuck in the middle between a row between the supermarkets and the food manufacturers.
Do you think that idea of signs on the supermarket shelves would work here, or is there something better that we could do as customers to look for a better deal?
Well, I think the signs are quite a clever move on the part of the supermarkets, but of course in the UK, over half of all the things we buy are supermarket own label. We have a huge proportion compared with the rest of the world of own label goods. So of course, would the supermarkets be honest about their own products that they've cut in size, as well as the big manufacturers like Unilever, Nestle and Mondelez? I'm not so sure. I think what does need to happen is far clearer labels in terms of pack sizes and price per units. the supermarkets say they're doing, they're working really hard and they're abiding to all the laws. You walk down a typical supermarket aisle and you have something per 1 litre next door to a very similar product per 100 millilitres, and it takes, you don't want to be having to whip out a calculator in the middle of a supermarket aisle to work out what's best value and what's not. We don't have the time to do that, and the supermarkets know it. So I think the labelling on the shelf does still need to be clearer.
OK. Harry, some really good advice. There's some really practical tips. Harry Wallop, consumer journalist, thank you very much for joining us on Breakfast this morning. A lot of you have been in touch by email and WhatsApp as well. Some of you pointing out that this has been happening for a little while. A number of viewers, including Marco in Carlisle, say that they've noticed it with pet food. Cat food pouches in particular have been shrinking in size. Angela's been commenting on the Lurpak butter example. She's noticed that both of their pack sizes have shrunk, but remain at the original prices. And one viewer even has the practical evidence of the changes. A packet of 300 grams of cream crackers used to not fit entirely in their tin at home. They say they used to pack them along the sides, plus on top, a couple to fit. Now the whole pack fits in without any problem. So plenty of examples there. Thank you for all the messages. It has clearly touched a nerve. One bit of advice from me: have a look on the supermarket shelves. It will tell you the price per 100 grams. If you're comparing the value you get, it can be a good guide as to whether you're being charged a lot more for getting a smaller packet. Just one bit of advice there. But thanks for all the messages this morning.
I think the cracker tin wins, Ben.
The cracker tin wins.
Yeah, definitely.
Every time, as a phrase in itself.
Yeah. Ben, thank you.
Such a good way of working it out. I reckon you can also tell as well, if you look at how much is in something, it's always a really weird number, like 73 grams. And I reckon that's because it used to be like 75 or 80, and it's a really weird number. But
we're doing the opposite of shrinkflation.